is just one case out of hundreds and probably thousands, because we have hundreds of people turning up every day that are not documented. We don't know. They're the ones that are actually seen. There will be other ones coming in other places where nobody sees anything. Nobody actually sees them entering, right? So here's the tip of the iceberg. As your last contributor said, even with the Rwanda quote-unquote plan, there's gaping great holes in it because of some of the clauses that is in the that is in the Human Rights Act, right?
So are
Clause 4 he was talking about. So that's not watertight. Again, as he said, the problem is, this government clearly does not care very much about the people that are already in this country, because one of their first duties is to protect the citizens of this country and protect our borders.
Accordingly, then, do you think the United Kingdom should leave the ECHR?
Even if they do, we still are going to have a problem with people that are, claiming to come from one place, but actually come from another. Where do we actually return? I mean, look, there are people that will come here undocumented, turn up illegally, whatever you want to call them, and do nothing but quietly go about their business and try to earn a living the best way that they can.
So the asylum system needs a bit of tweaking, I think. I mean, you have to... Yeah. Well, this is one case that we keep going on about. Well, I know it's a very bad case, and it's obviously very distressing to people. Exactly. But the point I would make is... Previously, you kept on referring to the fact we should have sent him back. Where would we have sent him back?
Afghanistan.
We can't. We don't send anyone back to
2016, we could.
Well, okay, maybe we could have done, should have done, and I accept all these things.
2017, we could, when he started exposing himself at a bus stop in Newcastle.
Then we should have done that. I completely agree with you, but we can't send him back now. Or even after the event, we couldn't send him back. And I think you've got to have a new conviction.
But that's the government would say that's what Rwanda's for.
But what will Rwanda people do with him? So if his application went to Rwanda and he failed his application there, what would they have done with him?
Don't know. Do you care?
Well, I do care because he's a human being.
Why do you care about a sex offender? Tell me why you care about a sex offender who threw chemicals at young women. He's a scumbag of a human being, but he's still a human being. I know you don't care, and I accept why 99% of the people wouldn't care, but he's still a human being, and we have... under the Convention of Human Rights, we have to make sure that. Well, if you want to exercise yourself worrying about somebody who throws chemicals in the face of young girls, I'll leave it to you.
Nobody knew he was going to do that. Nobody knew he was going to do that.
Well, we know that he did do it, and you worry about him. I'll worry about trying to make sure girls don't have chemicals thrown in their faces.
This is a typical case of broken Britain.
Tell me why this is bargain Britain.
But do you know what? These asylum seekers, they look at this country as the biggest, softest country that they could even enter.
But why is this down to money? What I don't understand.
It's not money. No, it's not money.
I thought you said bargain.
It's not money. It's already when they come in off them boats, right?
Yes.
They're not challenged. Yeah, they're put into a holding or wherever, and they should be shipped straight out of the country, straight back to their own country, wherever they come from.
But what of the genuine ones? Hang on, what of the genuine ones?
Yeah. Listen, if a genuine one wants to come over on a boat and risk their life, that's their issue.
Hang on, sir, if you're shipping them all away...
Hold on, Nick. My point is, right, if they've got £2,000 to throw at a dinghy, why can't they get on a plane and use that money for a plane ticket if they're genuine?
I'm not on about genuine. They won't be able to buy.
I'm not on about genuine people.
They won't be able to... They won't be able to buy a ticket without showing proof of the visa at the other end.
Then they don't come. And when they do come, then show them the back door.
What are you going to do with the genuine ones?
Do you know what? I think to be fair, the door has been left wide open for far too long. Nick, I was a lorry driver, right?
You were what? Sorry,
years ago,
you were what?
I was a lorry driver.
Lorry driver, right? Okay, yep.
Right. 30 years ago, they was getting on lorries. 30 years ago, right? The door has been left open miles too long.
I want to vicar in Paddington, where we got a lot of immigration, asylum seekers.
I bet you do.
And so on. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, not everyone who comes to Paddington comes to my church, otherwise there'd be no room in it. which would be great, actually, but that doesn't happen.
Right.
But we've had, in the past 6 months, about a dozen, mainly Iranians, but some Sudanese and Kenyans have come through the church. Some of them have been baptized anyway, but other ones we've seen through baptism and confirmation. We had a group of about 8 just this year. All I can say about them is that, I mean, you know, if I tested them on the minutiae of their Christian faith, would they get stuff right? No, they probably wouldn't. I could probably do the same in my normal congregation, and they wouldn't either, to be honest with you.
Oh, surely they know what the Old Testament's about.
Yeah, don't know. They'd know that it was the stories that build up to Jesus, probably. They'd be able to get you that far.
Right.
But they wouldn't probably get into too much of the theology about it. But this particular group, you know, they have their own WhatsApp group. They're still coming to church very loyally. And we have teaching afterwards, because, you know, baptism and confirmation, they're just the beginning. There's a whole lifetime of learning. I'm still learning as well.
Right.
So in that sense, I take people for how they present themselves to me and try and think the best of them. I will expect certain things of them if they say they want to be baptized.
Do you agree the vicar was duped? The vicar in this case was duped?
I don't know enough about that particular case.
What else do you need to know, sir? I don't need to read you all the questions.
I tell you why. No, I tell you something though. You raised
know
a really
the man
good
was
point.
buried as a Muslim upon his death.
Yeah, I'm told that was on the request of the family, his family. So I don't know about that. But your point, which does raise a really interesting one. How do I know someone who's presenting themselves to me whether they have a criminal record? Now, if that person had said to me, and I want to work with your Sunday school, I would have to do checks on them. Someone who presents themselves at the door like that, I'm really interested, and I'm going to go away and find out how I need to check whether they've got a criminal record or not, because I need to know that.
I'm just reading from today's newspaper, the Daily Show. Ezedi was considered so dangerous by the Baptist church he attended, it drew up a safeguarding contract for the safety of parishioners over his sex assault and exposure convictions, which indicates to me that the church knew of his past and obviously wanted to work with him and try and make it as safe as possible, which for me calls into question even further why it was ever supported.